Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Leon Stein. I'm the curator here at the Navy Museum in Simonstown. Our Navy Museum and Elands Bay, the town fishing village on the west coast, share a common interest, common event that occurred during the Second World War. It was the tragic loss of the first director of the Seawood Defence Force, the forerunner of our modern day Navy. Admiral Guy Halifax was involved and killed in an aircraft accident when a Lodestar aircraft flew into the mountain just outside the town of Elands Bay. To commemorate this, a few years ago, the Navy Museum and the Naval Heritage Trust, we commemorated that by putting a plaque on placing a plaque very close to the accident site. And from that moment on, we also started working together with especially two local ladies that were quite passionate about the remembrance of Halifax. And I was so surprised to hear that there was a plan in place for the establishment of a new museum in Elands Bay. And so we maintained contact with the understanding that we're going to supply Navy Museum, we're going to supply material for a display inside the new museum. So we did that. We contacted the acting manager of the new museum and maintained contact with the two enthusiastic local ladies in Elands Bay, and an article even saw the light on the whole event that involved Admiral Halifax and the Lodestar accident. In-depth research that went into this. In fact, we maintain a display here at the museum on Halifax. When the magazine was printed, we provided Elands Bay with a substantial amount of copies for the future display there. I learned that the museum opened its doors about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, to the public. I didn't know about that. We didn't know about that. There was no big hoo-ha made about it. It was done without fanfare. And but I was so curious to find out what the eventual display looked like. The understanding was that Western Cape Museum Services, who runs the museum or manages the museum, appointed a contractor or service provider to do the design and the installation of the new display. Now, you need to understand that the focus of this museum is very much on the archaeology or in the area and the sites. There's a cave just outside town as well, and excavations have been made. So the focus more so on the as an interpretation center of those archaeological sites. But of the in the run up to the opening of the museum and the display, development of the display, we in meetings that they had, I tried to explain that there's much more to it, much more to Elands Bay than just that. You've got the history of the town and the history of the fishing industry, as well as Admiral Halifax's story. My informants in Elands Bay then informed me that the museum opened, and I was curious to know what the eventual display looked like after we've supplied them with all of this information and made offers to even provide artifacts from our museum on loan to them. Well, we didn't hear anything, and I must say it came as a little surprise when I saw the images of what the display eventually looked like. Yeah, it was like a, what's the moment? How can I describe it? Let me describe it as quack, 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 wow. Disappointment. And really, come on. I think this is just a good example of how good are we really. There's good museums, there's so museums, and there's bad museums. I'm not saying Innisbay is a bad museum. I'm just saying I believe much more could have been made, especially given the offering that was, the amount of assistance that was offered, and it seems there's just no interest to collaborate, to work together. We all, as I explained at one of the Sama workshops the other day, I said we all just working within our own silos. We're not working together. It comes as a big disappointment, but I'm seriously passionate enough about museums to pursue the matter, perhaps through Sama Museum Association, to improve things, make our museums wow experiences for visitors. It really needs to. We really need to do that. Yeah, that's my little story. Don't get too excited about it. Just wanted to share it and get it off my chest.